All right, everyone. I'm gonna do a quick update. First, last time I updated, we had a lot of fuel pressure problems. I thought it was just I had a clogged up like strainer on the pump, so I put a different pump in it and still had problems. And then so I got a bigger pump. I had twin 340s in the tank originally, and worked pretty good until we started to go a little faster. Fuel pressure's dropping off the top end of the track. It can barely maintain anything, and injector duty cycle's going crazy. So in the end, I had another pump that didn't work well. In the end, though, last week we put in a one of those 525 wall burrows with the 340 air motor pump. I knew that worked good still, and that's the biggest thing I could fit in the hole down in here because I have a trap door that people have a huge freaking conniption about sometimes on these cars, but makes it easier for fuel pumps. But I have the 525, which is like the F90285 pump by Walboro. Has a check valve on it. It's supposed to be a Hellcat pump or whatever, but it has a check valve. And an Air Motor 340. So I have both those pumps in there, and I redid the bulkhead that goes through for the fuel hat. So I have like 12 gauge wire going down to every, all the way to each fuel pump, and the grounds are in to the battery, which is right in the back too. So the fuel voltage is just doing much better, I'm assuming. I had some voltage drop problems too when we were racing, so I got that taken care of. But we went out to the track, and it was a no prep track, and we only have small tires, and we don't have adjustable front shocks, struts at all. You know, we got Lakewood 9010s. They're terrible. They're good for a bracket car, but they ain't meant for something that can really launch it because it just makes it do wheelies. But or it'll unload the back end. So we had a couple problems because it was didn't have any glue on the track, and then finally the third pass, I turned it down so much it left like on 2.5 pounds of boost at like 3,600 RPMs, and I had it ramped into about 15.5 pounds of boost by 2 seconds. And my tires, I ran a little lower than I usually do. I usually run pretty high because they're stiff wall slicks, and the car's not very heavy anymore compared to what it used to be. It's still like 350 pounds with me in it. But anyways, I ran those down at like 14 pounds, and they did fine. They looked like I was killing them. But anyways, I did make it down the track. We ran a 942 at 143.8 or 9, so 144. So that's the fastest we ever went. 942 at about 144. The 60 foot was horrible. It was like a 137, but like I said, I left like on 2 pounds of boost. The car, when all the boost came in a few seconds out, comes in pretty hard, and it about drove me in the wall. So I had to pedal it once before the 8th of mile. Once I was in third, I kept going back and forth on the track, getting out of the groove, so I had to pedal it. But it did good. Car did great. The RPMs were pretty high. The rear end I never talked about in this thing is a strange S60 Dana, rear end. It's got 410 gears in it, so it's kind of a high gear. It was meant to be a bracket car, when I did that rear end. 28 tall tires, has a lot of RPM. It was trapping at like a 7350 or something like that, 7400 at the traps at 144. So it's pretty high. It's not really meant for a quarter mile, but I guess these LS motors can take some RPM. But it did really well. In the couple weeks before that, when we were messing around with these fuel pressure problems, I did make one good pass, because I think the last one I ran before, when I updated it, was a 593. I did run a 590 at 117.5 or something like that again. So I did run a couple 590s. So that's kind of cool. And I think that if you go on a prep track, I think that car will go pretty fast. Here's my travel limiters I was talking about. They're on both sides. They go down to the A-arms. So they hold it. And they work. They work pretty well. But I tried to use them. The track wasn't sticky. It doesn't help. Because these Lakewood shocks, struts up here, I can't adjust some things. They come back down too fast. So, they work good at getting the front end up for some weight transfer. But then they come back down and the rear end unloads. So it's not good. Double adjustables out back, and those are nice. Viking ones, they work great. But yeah, I need front suspension parts if we ever have to really want to go fast on a not sticky track, because it'd be nice to limit the travel limiters when we're not on a sticky track, because it does get up there. That's it, man. We're just going to keep working at it. We're going to try to go back track another week or two, and we'll probably be there when it's sticky again, so we can really let it rip again and turn up the boost a little bit. My injector duty cycle was like 78% roughly. I have my regulator. It's It's one of those, I don't even know how you spell them. The Dosh word or whatever. DW. Regulators works nice. It's on the return side. I have a Y back there coming into the fuel rails like that and that. And then they tie up here, they come off as a Y. And then they, or no, actually, yeah, they come off as a Y up here, I think. No, I take that back. They go in as a Y in the back, and then in the front they come off as 2, and both of them go into that regulator. And then you have one that goes back to the tank. And they work really well for it, but I have it set at 45 PSI as the base pressure because of the fuel pumps. I was worried about the fuel pumps. But I think we can start tipping that up a little bit because the injector's rated at 60 PSI, 120 pound injector. So if we think our injector duty cycle is getting too out, we'll just turn that up. But yeah, it's been running great, man. It's still surviving. The plugs still look good. The oil still looks good. It's not smoking. I barely get anything in this catch can. It never really blows any blow by out very much, even though they're gapped. The rings are gapped. But I'll stop with that. Usually 5-6 minute videos about all I can take myself. So I don't want to have bore anybody. But anybody ever has any questions, just leave them in the comments. I'm all here to help anybody do better than me or do something that I had to learn the hard way. You know, that can do it the right way first by learning from somebody else. So, all right, guys, have a good weekend if anybody watches this because it's Friday.